Hi everybody, welcome back to Lockdown Lessons Part 23. And with me today, I've got Ryan Hughes from the Document Warehouse UK. So firstly, I'd just like to say hello to you, Ryan.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So I just wondered if you could explain to those people out there who don't know you and don't know the Document Warehouse, if you could explain to them what you do and how you help people.
Sure. The document warehouse, as the name says on the tin, constitutes a big building full of records, physical records, which has always been the historic approach of the business. We're a rare breed, as you can tell from my accent, that we're a South African-born business that flew north. We brought the document warehouse to the UK primarily for a number of reasons, in the fact that we believe that records management should be from the source where data or where records are created within a business, irrespective if it's physical or digital. And our three primary concerns is to keep our clients compliant in the ever-changing world that we find ourselves in, to increase workflow efficiencies, both digital and physical, and reduce costs in delivering the first two. So that's typically our route to market. We're an outsourced administration business, although the name says the document warehouse, it's a little bit misleading from that point of view.
Fantastic. That's a really good run through of what you do, Ryan. So if we could cast our minds back to March the 23rd last year when we went into lockdown, at what point around that period of time, either before, during or after, did you think, we might have to make some changes around the document warehouse? Things are going to have to be different for either ourselves or our clients. At what point were you thinking something might happen?
Well, it was before the 23rd of March for us. I was actually with my business partners in Europe, in Spain, doing business. It wasn't a holiday, sadly. And at the time, we got reports and heard about coronavirus as everybody else did, but thought it's something that happened far away in China and wasn't really affecting everybody. We also, for the week we were there, didn't have any access to great news in Intel, and didn't really appreciate the seriousness of what was going on in Italy and then eventually in Spain. We eventually, that weekend, from reports from the UK saying, get home as fast as possible, things are not looking good. We actually got the last flight out of Spain on the Sunday evening and thought it prudent to keep ourselves in a 10-day quarantine anyway when we arrived back in the UK. And during that 10 days, we went into the UK lockdown, and then we knew we had to take this seriously. It wasn't it was a very surreal moment, but it was, it all became too real at that point in time to say, stay at home. So that was really where it affected us, like everybody else, I'm sure.
Yeah. There were a few people that thought they saw it coming in January, which I find very, very difficult to believe, because we just thought, oh, that's another side of the world. We'll be fine. And then the sort of the chickens came home to roost, didn't they? Really, quite quickly after that. And
in a big way.
Yeah, I think when Italy went into lockdown, I thought, this is serious. This isn't normal.
Yeah.
But there you go. So how have you had to adapt at the document warehouse during the last sort of 10 months then, Ryan?
Well, we are obviously a service industry-led company, and we are predominantly looking after the highly regulated industries, and it's banking, it's accountants and legal practitioners and so on. So they typically very quickly moved into work from home scenario. And the offices in London were abandoned like a hot potato, and everybody had to make changes very, very quickly to accommodate that requirement. So our biggest challenge was moving from a tried and tested service platform that we've been doing on a constant basis, day in, day out, to this new world. So that was the first challenge. Subsequently from there, it was the second challenge with the actual staffing. Was and still is to this day, is the biggest impact with school closures and people needing to take care of children at home. And the actual, I mean, I had COVID sadly over December. Luckily, it wasn't serious. But it's affected the company across the board, the disease. So it's the virus. So it's I think HR over time was the biggest impact. Service requirements moved pretty quickly in the first lockdown to get match fit and ready for the new game.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed. I work with a couple of HR businesses, and they've been absolutely snowed under. And unfortunately, not all of it's paid work, but you know, they've really worked hard to get through and help their clients, which is great. So have you seen any wins at the document warehouse? Has anything gone well since March last year? And if you could just let us know a bit more about that.
Yeah, so we've had three core areas of the business while others have calmed down completely. The core three growth areas for us have been, and again in response to the adaptation to clients' requirements, is the what we call scan on demand. So it's digitizing the physical file and sending it to a cloud-based EDMRS, or electronic document management system, where people can work remotely and from home and access information. So that has really rocketed for us from that point of view. The other side is the demand for a mailroom service, a virtual mailroom, and that's more for inbound mail. So where mail was arriving at an office in London with nobody being in the office, there's been a need to digitize that mail and send it into the pigeonholes into the different various recipients and owners of the information so that they can carry on with their business. So those two areas are, from a physical standpoint, is what's grown. We started in 2017, launched a new product called TDW ICO, and it's a compliance offering service which helps either DPOs, data protection officers, which at the moment are pulling their hairs out because everyone's running around with data going home with it. So, broken the law, and we have to deal with that at a later stage. But supporting the compliance issue around people working remotely has been our biggest offering. And the advent of Brexit as well, people leaving once we left the union, we needed a data representative under Article 27 if we indeed are trading with the European bloc and don't have a physical presence in that country, and vice versa. European businesses still trading in the UK without any physical presence needs by law a data rep. So the demand for those services have really shot up quite quickly, and it's a service we can deliver remotely. So it's been a blessing from that point of view.
Wow. So is that a service which do you think there are a fair few businesses in the UK right now who don't realise that this is something they need to address right now, Ryan?
Yeah, I think like all things when it comes to compliance, they are looking at their core functionality of keeping the business operational. And these are nice to haves. But with the advent of Brexit and all the other bits and pieces, we've seen the government themselves promoting, it through TV, radio advertising, or are you ready for the 31st of December? And part of that package of changes that all businesses are going to have to accept is the data requirements and data sharing agreements that we now have with Europe, or the lack thereof. Equally, what's really going to be interesting over the next couple of years is we've adopted all GDPR laws, for example. Everyone's heard of GDPR now, but
Yeah.
we had to adopt them into law in the UK. And effectively, we have a European GDPR set of rules, and we have a UK one, which at the moment is directly aligned. They are equivalent. But over time, through prosecution and a change in laws and regulation, we may end up with a double set of GDPR standards, which is every compliance is man's nightmare, and including mine. And it's not something we look forward to, but it may happen. So we have to be ready for all eventualities at this point with it. Wish we had a crystal ball to tell us what's coming next, but unfortunately, we've just got to prepare for today.
Yeah, and also, be in a position where you can help your clients that don't actually know what to do. And
exactly.
so no, I think that's invaluable to make sure that people are staying on the right side of the law. Nothing's more important than that, really, apart from obviously the need to stay open and stay operational. So so are there anything you sort of put in place during lockdown for your business that you're going to continue with after we're allowed out into the big wide world, Ryan?
Well, yes, I think there's the main one is doing what we're doing now, being able to hold all of our meetings remotely. I still think, I'm from the old school where it's brilliant to get in front of someone and shake their hand and have a meeting. But until that can happen, I've been amazed at what I'm able to do remotely from sitting at home in my office. The meetings I've been able to have, the mileage I've managed to save, and the traveling around, not only globally but locally, has been phenomenal. And it's become, originally it was the new normal, but now it is normal. And I'm hoping and praying that remains. Long may that last. It is a time saver. It's not a substitute for physical meetings, but it is really, if we can get a right balance between the two, I think we're on to a winner.
Yeah, I mean, and how lucky are we to be born in an age when we can actually make this happen? 30, 40 years ago, forget it. Lockdown would mean lockdown. There'd be no sort of alternatives or workarounds or anything. We'd be really in the mess if this happened sort of 30 years ago, right? Or even 20 years ago, because I think video conferencing might have been around, but it was very poor, and it wouldn't have been you know, the broadband issues or dial-ups as it was then
Yeah.
probably would have caused a fair few problems.
I think we honestly would have been in the position we're in now in the next 5 to 8 years anyway. I think COVID's really just sped up that process to get our, to get match fit a lot sooner. So that's the benefit, which I'm hoping we keep into the new world we're going into.
Yeah. So what would you say you've learned about yourself since March the 23rd? Because I think a lot of people along the way have had to be very adaptable, and at times you sort of take a step back and you think, well, you know, maybe I'm a little bit more adaptable, more resilient than I thought I was, or is there something else that you'd say you've learned about yourself, Ryan?
That's a fantastic question, and I think it's hard for most people because we're always looking at the business or managing other aspects and never really look at ourselves. I think for me, I've always been one that embraces change, but to really accept change, irrespective that whether it's out of your control, you have to accept that change. And I think that element has been an eye-opener for me. I've also had to learn to, I call it shoot what you can see. Meaning that don't let your mind run away with you with what ifs or this could happen or that could happen or 6 months down the line if this doesn't happen. Rather deal with the issue of the day in front of you and don't let your mind race. I think is a healthy way of looking at it. But embrace the change because there's huge opportunities in change, and if we just have that kind of mindset, it helps. Personally, from the family, I've grown a lot closer to to the family. It's the first time I think in history and life that we've had the opportunity to spend with our loved ones and be locked up at home. Some people might say that's horrendous. But I've really valued the time with the family, getting to know everybody's characters better. And when you're running businesses and things, you tend to be off focus from the family, shall I say? But that's been lovely.
Yeah, I agree, and yeah, you're right that I think a few people that it's not a blessing, it's the opposite. But everyone's different, right? So I just wondered then. So let's assume we're going to come out of lockdown at some point this year. Let's assume that. Fingers crossed. What's the first thing you're going to be doing once you're allowed out then, Ryan? Once you can do whatever the hell you want?
It may change depending on the time of the year, but we have already had one significant birthday in the family, which was my wife. So I'm not going to tell you her age. She will slaughter me. But we had a lot of plans around celebrating that birthday. And this year I have a significant birthday. So it was depending on timings. The first thing I'd love to do is get to Greece, which is our escape in the sun, and just lie on a beach somewhere and totally melt into the sand. That would be Mecca. If I'm able to travel and go, I'm going to be off. That will be my first port of call.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably where I'm going to be heading off to once I get the chance. So, but then you've got there are going to be question marks around the safety of other countries. We could be fine, and then and there are going to be all sorts of problems. But the sooner they can get these vaccines rolled out, the quicker, the better, really. But So I suppose the final two questions that I always ask people are, if anyone watching this is your ideal customer or knows your ideal customer, perhaps you'd be good enough just to explain who your ideal customer looks like so we can all keep a lookout for you, Ryan.
Perfect. Yeah. As I said before, we generally look after highly regulated industries. So finance, medical, accountancy, law, charity sectors are typically our bread and butter clients. However, we're finding a lot of clients and a lot of companies looking for complete change, looking for remote working. I was dealing with a client the other day in Essex who's now always wanted to move to Spain. He's just said, solid, he's off. He's made, it was an 8-year plan. It's now a 3-month plan. And what could we do to help assist him? And so he could work remotely. And what could we push into the cloud? What physical back office administration could we take away from him, enabling him to chase his dream? So at the moment, I would say anybody that's looking or facing fundamental challenges with their business from an administration compliance perspective, we have many tools and solutions that could assist them in doing that change. We are working, oddly enough, with more and more office relocation businesses. I think the fact that office space in London is becoming a dirty word at the moment, because people are just literally looking to get out of their long-term leases and work remotely and keep the new way of working. So the change management pieces with records management and data management, and anybody that's on that electronic change path, or the digitization path, they're trying to go from a 19th, 20th century system into the 21st century, and needing assistance along the ways, I'd be willing to chat to anybody along that path.
Fantastic. So the types of businesses, I'm assuming solicitors, accountancy practices, HR businesses, any other types of businesses that you'd say?
Yeah, healthcare is a big one as well. Home care businesses, as I said, charity sectors. A lot of the travel companies, unfortunately, due to the current systems, has gone very quiet, as you'd expect. We have pharmaceuticals, we have manufacturing, we have import-export businesses at the moment, all needing to be compliant and looking to do business on the right side of the law. So there is a wider approach out of the norm. But look, every business is a limited company in the UK, has some form of regulation around them anyway. But it's where there are industry watchdogs that are looking at specific industries from a compliance point of view. The biggest challenge we find at the moment is we can thank Prince Harry for this, but last year he used GDPR as an individual to go and prosecute a newspaper for sharing a likeness of the photograph of his child. And he won the case and won compensation. This sadly has opened up a huge, I would call them, I suppose, hate the word ambulance chasing, but that's exactly what they are. A lot of the law firms these days have a compensation GDPR claim. So that means that every single business operating in the UK now has an additional threat to look after, make sure that all their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed in respect to this, to keep that challenge away from them. So anybody facing that difficulty or that minefield, be interesting to chat to.
Good, fantastic. Thanks for clarifying that. So just in case anyone wants to get in contact with you, Ryan, what I'm going to do is when I post this on YouTube and LinkedIn after, I'm going to put the details below. But if you could just let people know the best way to contact you right now, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, the best is to go to tdwuk.co.uk or type in the document warehouse. All roads lead to the same website. We do have a global website as we are an international business. However, the UK one would be the one to get hold of me directly. There's at info at tdwuk.co.uk. Of course, there's telephone numbers and things on the website. So if anyway, carrier pigeon, voice box, anything works. Just get in contact. We will be able to help.
Fantastic. Well, for now, thank you so much, Ryan. Really appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Phil.